Thank you, Mr. President. Just to clarify a matter, Senator Middleton, in discussing this bill, I don't recall.
Do you yield for questions?
I do.
You're recognized.
Sorry.
Thank you. I want to clarify one thing. I think it was an exchange with Senator Gutierrez. You mentioned, I don't think you used a partisan term, but that somehow some members had it backwards, that it was okay to have porn in schools, but not okay to have prayer in schools. I want to make sure that you don't really mean that, because it's true that no one on this floor expressed any support for any obscene material in any school, and that for anyone to say otherwise would be a lie. Do you agree with that characterization?
Well, when you're saying this bill is harmful, but that we need to let pornography in schools, what else are you saying? I mean...
Oh, no one said, you heard several members say that they oppose obscenity, pornography, and any similar materials in schools. No one said it's okay. The only thing you heard from any member was that if there's a question, it should go to the courts, not the legislature. Do you agree with that?
A question should go to the courts. It depends on if there's a challenge. I guess that's what you're referring to. But that actually came up with the chaplain's bill last session, where they said, or the Ten Commandments bill, actually, sorry, it was Senator King's bill, that it was unchristian and un-American to display the Ten Commandments, but it was no problem to have these things like this. I don't know where the book is here. I put it in the desk because it was so bad that the Lieutenant Governor waved earlier, that are so inappropriate, and that's not the real danger, and the real danger is the Ten Commandments in classrooms. That's ridiculous.
That bill's coming up, Senator.
Again and again and again. It's not okay.
Right, okay.
It's not okay.
So are you going to say that I or Senator Gutierrez or Senator Menendez or Senator Eckert said that it's okay to put obscene materials in schools?
Did you vote for the bill?
I asked you a question. Did you hear me say that today on this floor? Or did you hear me say exactly the opposite?
Different bill, different subject. But voting no on that bill says, hey, we want to make it easier to have obscene materials.
Okay, so if you make that statement, I'm going to say that you're lying to the public. Next, on this bill in particular.
Let's keep it to questions. Okay, we're not making political comments. It's time for questions.
I understand, Mr. President. I wanted to make sure that it was a question about how he viewed our comments, but I appreciate we're going to talk about the bill here.
That was a fair question. The comment after was not.
Okay, thank you, sir. From reading the bill, it looks like you're not going to require school districts to eat up class time if they do provide a time for prayer, out loud prayer and reading of the Bible and other religious texts, right?
Right, so it doesn't replace instructional time.
Would that result in an extended school day?
It could be a few more minutes. I wasn't around when prayer was allowed. A few on this floor were. From my understanding, it wasn't very long, but that was a really important part of the day, even though it wasn't very long.
You know, I remember a session or two ago, I introduced what at the time was called an SEL bill. It was a social and emotional learning bill, and I think we changed the names because people were kind of nervous about those terms. But we had a bipartisan agreement that there is a need in the classrooms for kids to be aware of their emotions, to be able to manage their emotions. But I'll tell you that in the course of the debate in committee, several members brought up the idea, actually the old familiar phrase that education is supposed to be about the 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic. It wasn't 4. It wasn't reading, writing, arithmetic, and religion, right?
The core of a great education is reading and math.
And writing.
And writing.
Okay, yeah. But now we have, as a fundamental part of our education, a space for religion. You know, because the conversation I heard around that SEL bill was all this other stuff you learn at home, in your private world. Isn't that what we ought to do with religion too?
It is the home that's deciding whether or not the child participates. The parents are deciding.
But they're not learning it at home. They'll be doing it at school, right?
They're choosing to participate.
I don't want to belabor the point, but I think you're expanding the role of our public education system to include matters that particularly conservatives have previously said is a private matter. And now I don't need to make a statement on the bill because that was kind of a statement. But thank you for indulging me.
Thank you, Senator.